It's been 1 month since the release of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And after that time, what are my thoughts and how are the upgrades in real-world usage? Just so you know, I am actually someone that is coming from Android, Xiaomi 14 Ultra to be exact. But I've been testing out different phones throughout the years, but this time I actually wanted to daily drive an iPhone for at least some time, and I did transfer everything to the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and I've actually been using it as a daily driver for the last month or so. But just so you know, I'm coming from Android, so things could have been different for me, at least at the very beginning. But let's go about the things that they supposedly changed in the iPhone 17 Pro Max, if they actually improve things, if it's actually better. Because the first thing I want to talk about is the thermals. The thermals on this iPhone are incredibly well done. They did actually add a vapor chamber, but just for everyday usage, you don't really have to know about that. The end result is what matters the most. And I have to say that after this month, and taking this for a 2-week adventure to a tropical island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, well, let's just say that even in harsh sunlight, taking a lot of photos, a lot of videos, the phone never really got hot, which was a pleasantly nice surprise. This was the first time when I was there that my phone would not overheat or I would not feel that it's hot to the touch, which was a nice, pleasant surprise. And that also goes for this screen, because it was a really nice looking screen even in direct harsh sunlight. Coming from Android, I always noticed that it was kind of a little bit harder to see, but it was still better than the iPhones before. A lot of times the iPhones tend to darken a lot in harsh sunlight. I guess it was due to the thermals, but this time it was pleasant surprise once again. I was able to use it in harsh, very harsh and warm environment and very sunny, even in straight sunlight, and I would be able to see everything as clear as day. And the best thing is, it was able to keep up for at least a couple of minutes before it had to dim a little bit to keep that thermal performance down. But it was a night and day difference, so I was pleasantly surprised how good it looked even in direct sunlight. Another thing is they supposedly upgraded the charging and the battery. And that has to be said that it is one of the best batteries I have tested on a phone so far. I was able to use it for a whole day, take a lot of photos and videos, and just use it as like a power user with a lot of photos, videos, maps, all those things throughout the day, and would easily hold out throughout the whole day. And even now, coming back home, it does feel that I can use it throughout the whole day and not really care about the battery. It is holding the battery so good, which is a really nice surprise for me. Maybe I'm used to having a phone that isn't known for a good battery, but this does seem to hold up really nicely, especially after a couple of days where at first it felt like it was draining much faster. It got settled down and now it works perfect. So it's a really good battery. And the charging, at least to 80%, is much faster in my opinion for an Apple smartphone. And yes, maybe this is not something like Xiaomi's 90 watt or 120 watt, but it's still really nice, really fast for an iPhone. And because it holds the battery so much, even though it might take a little bit longer to charge, it is still a nice feature to have, to be able to charge a little bit faster, and because it holds a little bit more, meaning that even if I only get it to 50% or 80%, it's still gonna be a lot of usage from the battery. Like I said, to 80% it goes pretty fast, like 30 minutes or so. Then it starts to be much slower for the last 20%, but I guess it is to the thermals and to not age the battery as much. Another new addition is the update to the triple cameras on the back. This is usually my favorite part about any smartphone. And to be honest, I'm gonna make a dedicated video about the camera performance and the video performance, strictly to just, you know, ramble about the cameras a little bit more, talk a little bit more in depth, and not make this video only about the cameras. And by the way, to be exact, I did 6,000 photos and videos throughout the month, but most importantly throughout that trip that we had for the 2 weeks. So I guess there's a lot of samples for the video about the cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. But just in like a summary, what has changed? Now we have the telephoto, which is also a 48 megapixel, and it definitely shows that the photos are much more uniform across all the different cameras. So now, no matter which one you take, it's gonna be up to 48 megapixel and all of them look pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of the way the iPhone processes the photo, and also I'm kind of coming from a phone that is really known for amazing photography and the hardware behind it. So I can see the differences that the hardware just, you know, even with the great software, you cannot push beyond that hardware. But in my opinion, especially in the United States, where the market is a little bit different with Samsung, Google, and iPhone, pretty much the biggest three, versus what we have here in Europe, where we have something like Xiaomi, Vivo with incredible cameras. But I feel like for anyone in North America, this would be an incredible smartphone for photos. I just feel like it lacks a little bit of that contrast and punchy colors. But the telephoto, the 48 megapixel telephoto lens, the ×4 zoom, takes incredible photos. In my opinion, it works really nicely and it looks really good. And for portraits, it works wonders. What I was more excited about the camera is actually the video performance. I feel like the iPhones are just the best in terms of video performance. These are the best smartphones for video. I feel like even if the photo can be found better on a different smartphone, the video performance of the iPhones are just the best in my opinion. They look the most natural, the contrast, the sharpness, everything just feels the most professional and the best looking in my opinion, without that artificial smartphone look that oftentimes is the benefit for photos in those different smartphones, but it's not the best in the video department. It's kind of like the give and take situation, but I do love the video coming straight from the camera of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And because the cameras are in a triangle, sort of, they have a really smooth transition between the lenses, which is really nice, just looks much better than the competition. And the stabilization in the videos is incredible too. Even more so if you put in the action mode, it does hit the resolution slightly, but the footage you can get from it is incredible. Even shots that you would think are just unusable turn into cinematic videos, which is really nice. And with the telephoto you can get a little bit more background blur, meaning it looks a little bit more cinematic, overall making it look even better. But one more feature that is new to the iPhone 17 Pro Max is the Apple Log 2 and the Open Gate. I was really looking forward to testing it out. You do need a separate app, which is the Blackmagic camera app, but you can shoot in a more of a squarish kind of a footage, which is perfect if you want to have one shot for both vertical and horizontal content, which is really nice because you can use it and, you know, cut it out in post-production. And you can also shoot it at Apple Log 2, which gives you more possibilities in post-production for color grading and provides the best footage possible from the iPhone. So you can really take advantage of the cameras that we have on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Like I said before, the video side of the iPhone 17 Pro Max is pretty incredible. One more change to the cameras is actually the front camera now being more of a squarish sensor, meaning that not only you can have a little bit more in the shot, so if there's more people you can get them in the shot, you can also both shoot photos and videos in both the horizontal and vertical space with this camera without having to turn your phone. So instead of having something like this for a photo or a video, you can just hold it like this and just change it on the screen without losing any quality, because this is not a digital crop. This is just where this sensor is being used, which is a nice addition. Not only that, if you're, for example, vlogging and you wanted to shoot in horizontal for a normal traditional YouTube video like this, you would not want to shoot like this because you're kind of looking to the side of the camera, or if you're looking at yourself, it looks as if you're looking to the side. But if you're holding the phone like this, everything is in the line, so everything is straightforward and it looks just much more natural while still shooting at full resolution in horizontal, which is a nice addition to the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And overall the selfies look really good on the iPhone. Overall, I have to say the photos from the iPhone, both from the back cameras and the front cameras, really do great in terms of skin colors, and overall shooting photos of people and videos of people is really nice on the iPhone. I prefer it over the competition. I just feel the colors are a little bit better, and overall the way it exposes the face, overall how it looks in the end result is, in my opinion, one of the better ones out there. Even though maybe shooting something like a flower is going to be better on the competition, I feel like this is incredible for people. If you're taking a lot of photos of people or yourself, then this is a great phone to get. I do feel like I'm missing a couple of features on the iOS and iPhone from Android, and there are some things that I just had to get used to, some of things that are pretty nice, some additions, so there's like a give and take situation. I like some things, I hate some things. For example, the fingerprint sensor on the screen on the different phones like the Xiaomi is nice if I'm working and I have my phone on the side of the desk. I can just touch it and it's already open, I can see from the side, I don't have to pick it up. With this, you always have to pick it up, and then you have the phone in hand and you start scrolling instead of doing what you're supposed to. It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, touching the phone or swiping up when you have the Face ID is going to be pretty much the same action. So it's like a kind of like a usability, something you kind of get used to. So it's all depend on how you see it. Like I said, the cameras are a plus and a minus. So for me, this is kind of like a, there are things that I just wish was better. It's kind of like there's a couple of things that I like about it and then some things that I'm missing. On the iOS, you don't have the buttons, you only have the gestures, which are good. There's a lot of things you can do with that. For example, I love the double tap the power button for payments, which is super nice, super reliable, super quick, especially if you have it in your hand, it's gonna be super fast and reliable. But then there are things that I wish there was like the 3 buttons on the bottom where we have the Android for the home, the apps, and the back button, which is just so useful through the day. So it's like a give and take situation. But I definitely feel like this is the ultimate iPhone experience. And the iOS 26, in my opinion, is pretty nice, smooth, works nice, and looks good. For customization, it looks good. I feel like it's nicer than the Android side and the customization from different companies. I just feel like it's more aesthetically pleasing on the iOS and just overall has more nice looking premium features on it. But I do feel like in the iOS and iPhone in general, I do come to a realization that sometimes something that is simple on the Android side is jumping through a lot of hoops to get the same effect on the iOS and the iPhone. But it is how it is. There are benefits and there are disadvantages, but overall I feel like it's a great device. And I would say that if you're looking for an iPhone and the ultimate experience, so I have to say I would recommend getting the iPhone 17 Pro or the Pro Max, depending if you want the bigger or the smaller screen and slightly bigger battery. But I would probably more be interested in the size if you want a bigger or smaller phone, because the big one is definitely on the bigger side. And last but not least, the body itself, the aluminum, is actually, in my opinion, really nice. I'm not coming from the older generation, so I'm not looking at it as a comparison. Rather, I'm looking at it as it is. So far, I have no scratches, no dents, everything looks pristine, and it feels great in hand. I really like the way it feels in hand, really premium. The weight to it is really nice too. But I would definitely get a case for it just to be safe, because it is an expensive device. If you have any more questions about the iPhone 17 Pro Max, let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.